Community of DAOs. Most of you have probably heard of a DAO before, a decentralized autonomous organization. This article here that I just found is diving into different examples for where a DAO might make sense in the field of decentralized science and longevity. Of course, if you are watching this right now, you probably already know that because that is the field that I am focused so heavily in making content. I want to express to everyone how new and exciting this genre or this realm of cryptocurrency and Web3 really is. And this article it just itched part of my brain and I really need to share it with you guys. So stick around till the end because we're going to get into a little bit more of a philosophical journey, if you will, if you're down for that kind of stuff. So decentralized autonomous organizations are growing as alternative research funding models, but also strong scientific communities. We should get on board. One thing to come up with a great idea for a research project. It's another to figure out how to get that project funded. There are many issues that plague scientific funding today, bias based on gender or affiliation. For example, some proposed solutions to these problems involve making the entire peer review process of grant applications more transparent. Several years ago, there was a discussion around making grant allocations a lottery, but this never came to fruition, right? So if you have a bunch of money and you have a friend who comes to you saying, "Hey, I have this really cool idea. Can I borrow some money so that I can do it?" You're more likely to give that money to the person that you already know versus me who comes up and approaches you and you have no idea who I am, right? That just is kind of human nature and it is an unfortunate reality. So finding a way that we can circumnavigate that bias in allocating funds is monumental. The decentralized science movement helps to become an alternative funding and knowledge sharing model for scientists. This movement began to gain traction in 2021 with the emergence of several biotech focused DAOs that uses blockchain technology to orchestrate and log their activities. They employ tokens for fundraising purposes, amassing a treasury that is directly used for research funding. The tokens are also serving as a voting mechanism, allowing community members to determine which project they accumulated treasury will be allocated. At the core of this community are research scientists, clinicians, entrepreneurs, patients, and members of the public who are interested in advancing a scientific field. The ethos here is that a very small niche in the scientific community, which is underfunded in other areas, maybe because it is not going to be that profitable, right? A drug company, a Pfizer, which has all of the money in scientific research, is not going to fund something that's not going to yield a profit for them. That's just how capitalism works. It is one of the unfortunate side effects of capitalism. As much as I am a capitalist, I enjoy making money as much as the next guy. It is the reality that we face is that if something's not profitable, it's not going to get any funding even if that not profitable thing might cure all cancer. You know what I'm saying there? It's just unfortunate. In the past years, there have been a growth of existing DAOs and an emergence of new ones. The flagship DAO, VitaDAO, which everyone should be familiar with, focuses on longevity. It has been followed by groups including Valley DAO for synthetic biology and climate change, which is I'm interviewing someone from Valley DAO, little chill there. So if you like decentralized science, make sure you like this video, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I'm putting out more content than anyone else on YouTube about decentralized science, including an interview with someone from Valley DAO and Athena DAO for women's health. Hopefully, if someone's watching that, I'd love to interview you guys as well. Project proposals are sent to the DAO, and each DAO member is able to vote on whether a particular project should be funded. Members have tokens which can be purchased or earned, and they're able to provide support and feedback to new project proposals. Now, if you are using your brain right now, it should be running pretty hot with thoughts. What happens if Pfizer comes in and puts in $1 million into that DAO, and collectively between the other 2,000 people who should have just as equal voting pressure want to participate, but we don't have $1 million collectively. What happens there? Does Pfizer just win out and just completely monopolize this? No, not at all. That's because of something called quadratic funding, which they did not bring up in this article, but right now is a pretty good time to bring it up. I will be making a video moving forward because it's such an extremely complicated subject to wrap your head around, but the bare bones of it, what you need to understand from it in order to like continue forward from here is that people with the masses with not a lot of money will outbeat the singular corporations with a lot of money. So in that scenario, Pfizer contributes $1 million, and the 2,000 people who disagree with Pfizer contribute a total of $1 million. The 2,000 people will outbid and outrank the one Pfizer corporation every day of the week, thanks to quadratic funding. So it's very powerful to redistribute voting power. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm excited that some smart guy came up with it, not me. Oh man. This all takes place using blockchain technology, which is significant. Blockchain is opened and accessible by everyone, even non-members. Each transaction is recorded and transparent. It is possible to see who is backing your project or providing feedback, and the results are always going to be public. This is vital to the ethos of decentralized science movement and promoting open science as a way to gain trust and eliminate sources of bias. Projects involving the use of synthetic biology for climate change applications, for example, are hard to get funding by venture capitalists because it's looking for scalability or proof of concept, which often there are no results of that yet. We don't know how synthetic biology might impact climate change. We have ideas, but we don't have any proof yet because that's why we're trying to do the research. Trying to do the research to get the proof to support a larger initiative. And so it's like the catch 22. How are you going to get that money to do the research if you don't have any proof to show the investors? You get it. You get it. Women's health issues are historically underfunded, and Athena DAO's woman focused community provides a strong source of interest and dedicated fundings. DAOs could also be used to focus on a particular patient group. For example, Hair DAO is advancing research and development for specifically hair loss treatments. Members of the DAO are all bald. No, I just added that. Have first access to all funded treatments as volunteers, as well as governance rights over all assets. In this way, the patients could own the technology being used to treat them. Right now, DAOs are not self-sustaining, according to this article, even though, like Vita DAO, that have successfully funded projects to the IP NFT stage, are working to secure further rounds of funding. DAOs also need to grow their numbers of token members to engage more scientists and members of the general population. So, VitaDAO, let me switch my camera real quick. VitaDAO has received funding from Pfizer back in January of 2023, which was kind of a seed investment to get the ball rolling, but unfortunately, it has not been enough. And I kind of want to touch on this concept that the article just brought up, in which that DAOs are not really ready just yet, because in some ways they operate under the assumption that more people are going to be joining into the DAO, which sounds very Ponzi-esque. If you got your thinking cap on, I'm going to be blunt with you guys and say it. It sounds like a Ponzi. If you can think about it a little bit further, you'll understand why it's not necessarily a Ponzi and why it's actually got a pretty strong implication here. So, I was talking with Josh, who's over there right now, not too last night actually, about the philosophy behind Web3, behind crypto, behind all of this funding. Because DAOs, cryptocurrencies, NFT projects kind of act like religions. They act as communities. An innate human desire is to be part of a community, to serve a greater purpose. That's why a lot of religions exist. It's to answer the unknown, yes, but it's also to provide us with a sense of community. That's why we like living in cities and not spread out all across the country. It is ingrained in our DNA because we're social creatures. Unfortunately, with the convergence of a globalized economy, a globalized society, we often don't have those communities anymore. And DAOs, focus DAOs like this, Hair DAO, a bunch of balded men who want to figure out how to not be bald anymore. You get something to rally the troops against. You get an ethos, something that you can work towards collectively as a group. And it's pretty impactful. Obviously, we start to see the ball rolling already. It gives people a purpose. And when there's money associated with something like that, it further drives the fuel behind that purpose when you can potentially have a larger impact and get paid for that impact. This virtuous cycle that separates a DAO from a Ponzi is that you can enter into a DAO, grab one of their tokens, contribute to the funding of scientific research. That scientific research then has a breakthrough, which is very profitable. We find a new cream that is able to treat hair loss, and you can give it to men. Those IP rights, or women, I'm not going to discriminate here, those IP rights are tokenized on the blockchain, and everyone who holds part of those IP, everyone who has some of the coins associated with that DAO who contributed to the funding, are able to generate some profits off of the back end. So yes, in order for these DAOs to be long-term sustainable, we need to convince people to rally around a cause and get money into it immediately, get money in as an initial seed round. However, it's dissimilar from a Ponzi scheme in that eventually we'll be able to switch from going out and getting new members to join the cult to generating money from some of the scientific breakthroughs that we've had. Unfortunately, we just haven't had that many because it's literally less than 2 years old. All of DAOs, as far as decentralized science are concerned. Your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully, this was worth investing into. I am literally recording this at Discover Crypto's booth right now. I just couldn't find the light switch and someone's playing the drums right now. It's kind of distracting me. So I will see you guys in the next video.